these early times, which I gladly share with you. The first is that after the First World War, Finland was the only country to pay its debts to United States. We honor our commitments. The second is how, during the Second World War, Finland was the only European country that fought the Soviet Union that was not occupied. We cherish our independence. Thirdly, ever since Second World War, our foreign and security policy has been aimed at ensuring that there will never be no Third World War. Distinguished guests, today Finland is a member of the European Union and we are part of its inner circle, the Euro area. For Finland, the EU is a value community. We also view it as a security community and are working hard that it would play a stronger role in protecting Europe and its citizens. The EU is important also to our prosperity. Economic vitality is the backbone of any nation. The United States economy is on an upswing and you are close to full employment. The economy is looking up also on our side of the Atlantic. Finland is a relatively small and export-dependent economy. We support free trade, but not only for self-serving purposes. Free trade produces competition, and competition in turn spurs innovation. This benefits companies and consumers alike. I give you an example. If only Ford and Volkswagen had dominated the markets without competition, the Model T or the Bug would still today have been our mode of transport to this event. Indeed, free trade has been instrumental on Finland's journey to prosperity. It is important that free trade is continued and that an open and level playing field exists for everyone to compete. Free is fair. Geopolitics or power politics has made a return. Relations between the United States and Russia seem stuck. We also face new threats as North Korea's rapidly advancing nuclear weapons program shows. Some argue that we are in a new Cold War, whereas others do not feel we have reached that point yet, while others still feel we might be in even a worse situation. But all of this is beside the point. For me, the real issue is, as a humanity, we face a growing list of burning problems that can only be tackled through cooperation. Arm races, missile programs, and brinkmanship do not take us in the right direction. Moderation and cooperation do. Therefore, Finland advocates consensual win-win solutions. From tackling so-called black carbon in the Arctic area to improving air safety in the Baltic Sea region, we want to show that small steps in the right direction are much better than large ones in the wrong. Moderation and one indication of this is the fact that this is my second visit to the United States in a month. At the end of August, I visited Washington to meet with President Trump. We had a good discussion of our bilateral relations and about the state of the world. The focus in our discussions was security and economy. The United States is one of Finland's most important trade partners. It is Finland's third most important country to export. Mutual trade has traditionally resulted in a surplus for Finland, but it should be noted that Finland has a much larger base of direct investments in the United States. In 2015, around 250 Finnish-owned companies, which directly employed 34,000 people, were based in the United States. Finland's relationship with Minnesota is a special one. Minnesota is one of the most important areas to which Finns have migrated. Today, approximately 100,000 people of Finnish descent live in Minnesota. At the beginning of the 20th century, people moved to the United States predominantly to work in industry and forestry, in traditional manual labor. Today, Finns move to work as specialists in companies or to pursue careers as entrepreneurs, or to excel in professional sports, culture, and science sectors. I can't go without mentioning that the current Nobel laureate in economic sciences, Bengt Holmström, is a Finn who has worked for years as a professor at Yale and MIT. It is noteworthy that Minnesota, the North Star state, and Finland have a great deal in common. Our populations and economies are around the same size. Our climates are similar. We are both known for our thousands of lakes. We value education and invest in it. We develop clean tech and renewable energy. And of course, as it's evident here today, ice hockey is a subject we are both passionate about. Distinguished guests, together is the theme for Finland's centennial. Working together, the Finns have overcome many hardships, gained many hard-fought victories. But we have never been alone in our efforts. The United States has been and will continue to be a very important partner for Finland, and vice versa. We are not here only to celebrate Finland's independence and good relations between Finland and the United States, but also the strong friendship between Finland and Minnesota. We are striving to attain the same values and virtues for the better world. I thank you for this opportunity to speak here today. I am very pleased that we can now continue our discussions. I wish you and your companies and communities continued success. Thank you.
Thank you, President Niinisto. I'm Tim Penny, along with my friend Mark Kennedy, the co-founder of the Economic Club of Minnesota. We cannot think of a better way to start the 10th anniversary season of our club here in Minnesota than to have you here with us celebrating the 100th anniversary of your nation's independence. So thank you for making this trip and being a special part of our day today.
Thank you for arranging this.
I think it's automatically on.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a great honor for me and my team to have a possibility of discussing with you and visiting Minneapolis.
And this is one of the largest audiences we've ever drawn for our economic club. We always draw a huge crowd, but this is probably the second largest.
Okay.
But you know, depending upon who's counting, it might be the largest.
Yes, and in every case I was looking around, it's most qualified.
Well said. Well said. In addition to Minnesota's strong ties to your nation,
Yep.
on a personal level, my stepdaughter is attending college at Michigan Tech in the Upper Peninsula, which also has a strong tie to the Finns that helped develop the industry of that part of Michigan. So just wanted to add that personal touch. We also have many questions from the audience, but as the moderator, it's my opportunity to kick this off with a couple questions. You know, I'm aware that you will be the incoming president of, or chairman of the Arctic Council, and I'm not sure that's an organization that many in the audience would be familiar with, so maybe you can talk a little bit about the Arctic Council and the work that it attempts to undertake.
Yes. Arctic Council, we have 8 members: United States, Canada, Russia, and the Nordic countries, 5 of them. So those are the states which are located so that they have a part of the Arctic. But there are a lot of observers and a huge interest even from the southern parts of the globe. Why? During the Finnish chairmanship, one of key issues is how to save the Arctic. Problem is that because of emissions, the Arctic is covered, or it's all the time increasing black carbon. And we all know what happens when sun meets black. It melts. And we have lost a lot of ice already from there. Well, one might say that ice is not that nice, but if we lose the Arctic, we lose the globe, because that would mean that the level of sea will rise, and while we wouldn't have any ice left, the sun reflects not anymore back to the space from the ice, but it will warm up even more. So how to deal with this problem? We know that the worst sources for emissions are Russian old-fashioned energy plants and so-called flaring. That is, that they burn the extra gas, even oil, in the oil fields. And that is a huge, huge source of black carbon. I have proposed to President Putin that what about if we try to do something with them? I have proposed to your president, President Trump, that what about if we would do something about them? And both have actually been very positive. You have also these kind of emissions coming from United States, not to the amount than Russia's, but nevertheless. And I see that the outside pressure, which I described, is increasing. So the rest of the world is demanding that you have to do something for this problem. And I was very delighted when, with President Trump, I tried to, well, sell him the idea that actually it's a win-win situation. You can do business with renewing these old-fashioned plants, and in the same time you can reduce emissions. I didn't use the word climate change. But we agreed that emissions are not good.
Thank you. Thank you. I know one area of strong concern for you is your involvement with the UN's He for She campaign. I'll give you the same opportunity to sort of explain what that is and your level of involvement there.
Yes, actually, in Finland we were the first country in the world to give full political rights to women. that took place 110 years ago. I described you in my speech how successful Finland has been during its independence time, 100 years. And now I say that there's a linkage between taking women to societies and success of that whole society. And that is also a question now that we talk about in the He for She campaign. I think the most important issue is now dealing with how to protect women, young girls, and how to try to find an answer to the huge increase of population which is estimated to take place. And women are also in that aspect in a key position. So those are the issues we are working on, promoting women.
Last night we talked a little bit about the difference between the American political system and how things unfold in your nation. You have an election coming up in January.
Yep.
Talk just a bit about the differences, because our campaign would have started 2 years ago.
Yes, and I try to delay my campaign all the time because, well, we are here some politicians also, and you know that the most unpleasant time of a politician is campaigning time. You just can't help it. Campaigning in Finland is not that great as it is here, but we might have quite an interesting discussion before elections on January.
So I suspect last night's opportunity to drop the puck is going to be noted back home.
Sorry.
At the Wild game, you dropped the puck to open the game last night.
Yes.
I suspect that's an event that might be noted in the media back home for you.
Yes, we have checked it.
I want to make sure we have a few minutes for other questions. As always, there are microphones moving around the room. Make sure you get their attention. And we'll do our best to handle a few questions before we have another presentation to make. Here we go. Quickly identify yourself and then pose your question to the President.
Hello, my name is Kathy Skinner. I'm a CEO of a woman-owned business, so very excited to hear about what you're doing on behalf of women, so thank you for that. We're here today because we have a partnership with a company in Finland, and it's a combination between technology, healthcare, and how we can serve those in the cancer community. So could you speak to the vision that you have for healthcare in Finland and how technology is improving those outcomes and how we in the United States, specifically Minnesota, could help you do that?
Yeah, thank you. I think that we have two main favorites in our industrial thinking. That is, one is the clean tech and the other is dealing with healthcare. And what I have learned so far, the Finnish healthcare business is of high quality, but maybe the segment is quite narrow. Well, if you're a small country, a small company, you can't conquer the whole round. But nevertheless, I am sure that they would be very willing to cooperate with you more. I know that there are investments from that sector to United States from Finland also. Something like this, I guess.
Next question. Do we have a hand there over on this side?
I'm Mary Curtin at the Humphrey School of Public Affairs here in Minneapolis, and I wonder, with all the tension between Russia and some of Western European and the United States, is there much debate in Finland over the idea of joining NATO, or is Finland pretty set on sort of staying where it is right now? Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, the Finnish government in its program says that Finland keeps open the possibility of applying membership to NATO. but it's not under preparation at the moment. What comes to the relation Russia-West, like I usually put it, I think there are, however, elements to go further with dialogue. Like I said, I often meet also President Putin. I met him 2 months ago, and my estimation was that he was somehow more cooperative towards European Union, maybe towards USA also, than in earlier times. Why? Well, you always have to ask why if you notice some change in behavior of the Russians, but nevertheless, there's clearly, and he made just a week ago a proposal of taking the UN peacekeepers to Ukraine, even if it might be tricky. Nevertheless, it has to be taken seriously, like it has been taken seriously. So maybe it's possible to calm down this feeling a bit. To NATO, our neighbor, Sweden, is in a similar position as we are. And I would say that in both countries, but more of that in Finland, there is not enough support amongst people to join the NATO, not at this moment. And to be straight here, we are, in a way, if you want to put it that way, compensating it by having a very keen cooperation, military cooperation with Sweden, with European Union, with our enhanced NATO partnership, and directly with USA. And I guess that the Finnish opinion, public opinion, is that, well, we are safe enough at the moment if things don't change very badly.
There may be time for one more question from the audience. We are on a bit of a tight schedule today. There's a press conference to follow, so please announce yourself and ask your question.
My name is Kaisa Taipale, and I'm with the School of Mathematics at the University of Minnesota. But I actually have a follow-up question in some sense. Russian activities in cyberspace and social media have really influenced the discussion in the US. How is Finland dealing with similar problems and maintaining civil society in the face of concerted social media activities by the Russians?
First, according to studies, 75% of Finns answer that they are ready to defend their country. And that is far most the highest figure in Western world. What has it to do with social media? It has a lot to do with social media, because hybrid warfare, cyber, social media, misusing truth or forcing it, they are the new forms of warfare. And every single citizen actually is a kind of a defender of his or her country, at least between his ears. What he accepts, what he doesn't, or she. And now I go back to the figures. 75% of Finns are ready to defend their country. Add to that we have had some difficulties during the centuries with Russians. So Finns don't believe. That is the answer. It's almost impossible to put any propaganda in Finnish heads.
I want to bring forward now Bill McGuire for a special presentation. As you know, Dr. McGuire is retired CEO of United Health Group, and he's responsible for bringing professional soccer to Minnesota. Minnesota United FC began play this year, and like the Wild has a player from Finland, Rasmus Schuler. However, As evidence of the strong ties between Minnesota and Finland, Rasmus is currently in Finland on loan to a Finnish team and couldn't join us today, but we do have Bill McGuire. Bill.
Thank you. Tim told most of my story, but as you heard earlier, the President has a long history and support and interest in soccer, and we, of course, are aware of it. Nick Rogers and I representing the team. Rasmus is on loan to HJK Helsinki, one of the great Finnish teams, getting a little extra playing time after some injuries here. But we thought it would be a testament in Rasmus' mind to Finnish entrepreneurism and getting ahead. So we did bring a jersey for the President. And Rasmus said, you know, he's got lots of jerseys with his name on it. So we have a jersey with Rasmus Schuller's name on it to promote jersey sales and attention to a great young Finishman, Rasmus Schuller. So.
Thank you very much. I just want to tell to you that we really need Rasmus in Finland. A memory from my times as the head of Finnish Football Association is that there's no pressure, not at all, because Finland has never qualified to any major cups. So they are used to that, but maybe Rasmus helps us.
Thank you so much.
The Economic Club of Minnesota's mission is to provide a world-class, nonpartisan forum for national and international leaders in business and public policy to discuss ideas that affect how Minnesota can better compete in the global economy. The Economic Club of Minnesota, engaging the world, strengthening Minnesota.